Alright, boys and girls, welcome back to the drive-thru. Hope everyone's having a wonderful quiz day. If you're indeed watching this video and getting ahead, good for you. Otherwise, we're watching it on Positive Wednesday. Okay, so notice what I have here is actually the most important part of the video, and that is how to read this help that we're giving you on this worksheet, okay? Let's see. This is the key right here. If you have x is equal to the log base b of y, that is the same equation as y is equal to b to the x power. Now, you might be asking yourself, what in the world does this mean? So I should probably back up for a second. Here's what we're doing. Let's say that you had, like 5 to the x power equals 25. Well, you would know that x was 2. I mean, I think you could just kind of guess and check that. But what if we had 5 to the x power equals 26.79? Well, what the heck is that? 5 times itself, well, it's not 2, because 5 squared is 25. However, it's not 3, because 5 cubed is 125, and 5 squared is 25. So it's closer to 2 than it is 3, but how in the world would we find out what x is? We would have to use logarithms. So that's what we're doing. A logarithmic function is the inverse. What does inverse mean? Well, inverse is opposite. It's the opposite of an exponential function. So this is an exponential function, and this is an log function, and they are inverses. Now, what is the inverse of multiplication? Division. What's the inverse of addition? Subtraction. What's the inverse of cosine? Cosine inverse. Okay? Well, now we know what's the inverse of x squared? Square root of x. So now we have another inverse that we can add to our list. So what essentially we're doing is getting better at solving equations. Okay? And what is the inverse of b to the x? Well, it's log base b of y. And it's going to take some practicing to be able to do this. So this whole day is about practicing. We're not even going to be really solving equations in this video. At the end of the worksheet, you will start solving some equations, but I'm going to walk you through those in a separate video. This video is to get you started with numbers 1 through 20. So here we go. So before we get started with these first 4 examples, I want to give a shout out to Miss Sheppers, who I taught with for 3 very happy years here at Sycamore, and she was actually the one that came up with what I'm about ready to show you, okay? It's how to get from one to the other, and it's all about this counterclockwise little swooping motion. So, if you can remember this, if you have, I don't know where to write it, I'm just going to write it here and then I'll get rid of it. If you have x equals log base b of y, and let me make this base a little smaller so you're not confused. And you want to change it to exponential form, you use this little counterclockwise circle. Sorry, clockwise circle. Clockwise circle, okay? So, what do I mean by that? I mean b to the x equals y. That's counterclockwise, okay? And if you have y equals b to the x, and you want to have it in log form, again, counterclockwise, log base b of y equals x. Okay, so I want you to know that I have taught this before a long time ago, and it was in pre-calc, but I struggled with it when I was in high school, just remembering the change of base formulas, which is what we just explained, and B, it takes some practice. So make sure you check your answers so you know if you're doing these right. So right now we want them in log-based form. They are currently in the form y equals b to the x. So we need to do log-based b of y equals x. So log-based 1/64 of, hold on, log, let's see, we should switch this. This is even more confusing. Okay, if you look at the way this is written, we would really write it as 1/64 equals 4 to the negative third. So let me start over with this one. Okay, this is our b. So log base 4 of 1/64 equals negative 3. Okay, so this power is what ends up by itself. Because if you look at it, the x was the power in this one, and it ends up by itself in log form. Okay? So, we know that this one will be log base 5. Another reason to, or another way to remember this is that this right here is the base of the exponential function. Base exponent of 1/25 equals negative 2. That's the answer to number 2. Okay? Okay, so here, this is our base. This is our exponent that ends up by itself. So we will say log base 8 of 1/8 equals negative 1. Okay? And finally, for this one, log base 11 of 1 equals 0. So there's your start. After the video is done, you'll come back in and finish or fill in the next ones by yourself. So now we're looking to go the other way. So if it looks like this, remember it's 5 to the 4th equals 625. This is your base. The exponent is by itself. Okay? So, here's your base. Well, let me go the other way. Two to the third equals 8. Okay, good. That's definitely right. Okay. 5 squared equals 25. That's definitely right. Okay, now, I got to scroll back a couple screens. I have not explained this to you yet because I was trying to do one thing at a time. All right, now, if it says x equals log of y, that's the same thing as if it says x equals log base 10 of y, okay? So that's just annoying. Some mathematician was lazy and didn't feel like writing a 10 because we are normally in a base 10 system. So when we get to a question like number 11, you have to imagine a 10 down there. And you have to imagine a 10 down there, okay? So what does that mean? That means, well, you could actually write this as negative 1 equals log base 10 of 0.1. So 10 to the negative first equals 0.1, and that's definitely true. Okay? So once again, if we had it as 0.845 equals log base 10 of 7, that means 10 to the 0.845 power equals 7, which is amazing. So if we took 10 and somehow figured out a way to multiply it by itself 0.845 times, it would give us 7. If you guys want to get ahead, just stop with number 20, and we'll pick up with number 21 tomorrow as we start class. Boom!